Today's Monday, September 25th, 2017, and you're listening to the Hudson Report. You know, we were talking a few weeks ago about naming names, and the first name that I named was Senator John McCain. I could have gone on for a week. I could have done a week's worth of shows on that. I chose to talk about Mr. McCain's time in Vietnam and how terrible that was, what he's done to prevent the families and America from finding out the truth about that. And I'm going to continue to name some names today, primarily because of the Anthony Weiner case. And I want you to see if you can recognize a trend about the vast corruption and the laws that are broken in our House of Representatives, and whether or not you agree with me that they have a different set of laws and a different set of sentences that they receive versus us, the deplorable public. So I'm going to go down a list that I've put together here. For example, Albert Bustamante, who was convicted of accepting bribes. Andrew Henshaw, he accepted bribes too, and he only did a year. Andrew J. May, accepting bribes, and he was sentenced to 9 months. Austin Murphy for voter fraud. Barbara Rose Collins, violations of law and House rules, not crimes, House rules. Bertram Podell, who was convicted of conspiracy and conflict of interest, 4 months was the sentence. Bill Janklow was convicted of second-degree manslaughter and was sentenced to, get ready, 100 days. Buzz Lukens, bribery and conspiracy. Carl Perkins, convicted of a check-kiting scheme. Carol Hubbard for illegally funneling money. Charles Diggs was convicted of mail fraud, filing false payroll forms, and was sentenced to 3 years. How about Cornelius Gallagher, who was convicted of tax evasion? He got 2 years. Dan Flood for bribery. Daniel Brewster, accepting bribes. David Durenberger, misuse of public funds. Donald E. Buzz Lukens, bribery and conspiracy. Duke Cunningham, conspiracy to commit bribery, mail fraud, wire fraud, tax evasion. He got 8 years. I guess it's because if he would have gotten the proper sentence for all of those crimes, he would have been serving most likely about 40 years. Ernest Bramblett, false statements in connection with payroll padding and kickbacks. Frank Boykin, conspiracy and conflict of interest. How about Frank Brasco, conspiracy to accept bribes, and he got 3 months in jail. We have Fred Richmond for tax fraud, possession of narcotics, served 9 months. George Hansen, failing to file disclosure forms. He got 15 months. Harrison Williams, bribery and conspiracy. He was sentenced to 3 years. J. Irving Whaley, staff salary kickbacks, threatening an employee. He got a suspended sentence of 3 years. Then we can move on to J. Parnell Thomas for salary fraud, 18 months. Jack Abramoff was convicted in the CNMI scandal. I don't know what his sentence was offhand. James Hastings, kickbacks and mail fraud. How about James Trafficant, bribery, racketeering, and tax evasion? He got 8 years. Jay Kim, illegal campaign contributions, and he was sentenced to 2 months of house arrest. Joe Coulter, sentenced to 6 months for conspiracy. John Jenrette, bribery and conspiracy. He got 2 years. John Dowdy tried to stop a federal investigation, and he also served 6 months for perjury. You see, people, the truth is that the people that we are electing into Congress, or the people that are being selected because of wide-scale voter fraud, they're liars, cheats, and thieves. You know, people like Hillary Clinton, who tried to manipulate an election, along with the mainstream media
and she lied, and she cheated, and she stole. Well, she didn't steal the whole election, but she certainly stole the election from Bernie Sanders. And she walks free today and has the audacity to write a book. What happened? How about Mario Biaggi? He was charged with obstruction of justice and accepting illegal gratuities and bribery. He got 2.5 years. Martin McNeely failing to file income tax. Mary Rose O'Carr, misdemeanor campaign finance. Michael Myers, bribery, sentenced to 3 years. Pat Swindle, boy, there's a good name. He got convicted of perjury. Raymond Lederer, sentenced to 3 years for bribery. Richard Kelly, bribery and corruption, and he served 13 months. If you are an elected congressman or a U.S. senator, if you have the last name of Clinton, you get off easy. You get off easy. Robert Ney, conspiracy, sentenced to 30 months. Ted Kennedy, leaving the scene of an accident, suspended sentence of 2 months, and continued to serve in the U.S. Senate. Yeah. And got reelected several times. And you wonder why these people are in office? Part of it is because we, the people, are stupid enough to reelect them back into office. We get what we deserve. But then again, do we really elect these people into office? Or are they being placed there because of the corruption, the vast corruption of the swamp? Thomas Johnson, conspiracy and conflict of interest. Thomas Lane, evading taxes, 4 months. I'll bet that really sent a message to Thomas Lane not to ever do that again. How about Tom DeLay? Delay of money laundering? Yeah, sentenced to 3 years for money laundering. Oh, the list goes on. Vito Fossella was arrested for drunken driving. Walter Brem, who accepted contributions illegally, he got 15 months. Walter Fauntroy, filing false disclosure forms. How about Wes Cooley, lied on the 1994 voter information pamphlet. William Heaton, federal conspiracy. William J. Jefferson, bribery. Now, he did get 13 years. But did you notice that most of these people got off pretty easy? Got off very easy, really. And then we moved to Anthony Weiner. Anthony Weiner, Congressman Weiner. And today, he was sentenced. And it wasn't the first time that he'd been involved in doing his little sexting thing. Of course, he said, well, I'm sick. And what do we see in the headlines? Things like, judge throws the book at Weiner and gives him a stiff sentence. Oh, my. Throws the book. Throws the book at Weiner. Really? Well, what did he get? Well, bear in mind that had the prosecution done its job and had Jeff Sessions, who is our current Attorney General, done his job, Mr. Weiner was looking at 10 to 15 years mandatory sentence. Well, he must have gotten that, right? Because it says right here, the judge throws the book at Weiner. Oh, my, I wish that was true. You know, because the truth is Anthony Weiner is, granted, he's finally being punished for these absolutely disgusting things that he's done. And he was a former Democratic congressman who also ran for the mayor of New York, but somehow he kept getting caught doing some really, well, perverted stuff, because that's what he is. Anthony Weiner, you're a pervert. You are, sir, a pervert, a disgusting pervert. Of course, his wife, longtime Clinton aide, Huma Abedin, who we know has strong ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. And there's reason to believe that she is a Saudi spy. Oh, yes. But that has nothing to do with any of this, right? I mean, birds of a feather don't really flock together, do they? Oh, but here we go. You know, Anthony Weiner got caught sexting gross parts of his anatomy to, well, they say a female. Yeah. And he did it while he was laying in bed.
with his own little boy, who I guess was asleep. I mean, really? This pervert is laying in bed with his own little boy, and he's sexting?
Not a female, not a woman, a 15-year-old girl. Yeah, a child. A child. Oh,
you could say, well, at 15, she's not a child anymore. Well, you know what? I consider a 15-year-old young woman to still be a child. So the judge threw the book at him. Threw the book at him. Oh, my gosh. Surely he got 10 years, 15 years, right? Anthony Weiner, Mr. Pervert, got 21 months. 21 months in federal prison. Yeah. And it's not even a bad federal prison. No, this is a prison, minimum security, where Mr. Weiner can go and be with other gentlemen who don't have to worry about what happens to pedophiles in prison. Yeah, you know, when you go to prison and you're a pedophile or you're a pervert, really bad, nasty things happen to you. But not for Mr. Weiner. Oh, no. As a matter of fact, he was also given a $10,000 fine. Wow. I'm amazed. Aren't you amazed? Especially when I read the list of the other congressmen and senators. And that wasn't all of the crimes that have been committed. No, that's not all the crimes that have been committed by those people. Why, if I told you how many of them have been arrested for driving under the influence, yeah. Or if I told you how many of them can't even apply for a credit card, or how many of them have filed bankruptcy, not once, but multiple times. If I really got into that, you would be wondering, how in the hell can they even convene Congress? Well, they can, and they do. But it's for our own good, right? Yeah, it's for you and for me, for the American people, just like John McCain said it on 60 Minutes. I have to stay in Washington so I can continue to serve the public, the public good. Oh my gosh. And we just buy it. Yeah, we take it all in and we say, yes. Oh, that poor guy, he's been through so much. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what the mainstream media, that's exactly what these criminal congressmen and senators want us to do. Yeah, they want us to be accepting and to walk away saying, well, he did get punished. Yeah, right. But what would have happened if it had been any of us? What would have happened if any of us, the deplorables of America, would have been in that same courtroom before that same judge doing the same crime? Would we have gotten off with 21 months? Would we be going to a minimum security gentleman's prison? I don't think so. I think that the judge would have thrown, the other book. The judge would have thrown the other book at us, and we would have gotten the 10 to 15 years minimum sentencing. Our lives would have been completely, totally ruined, and we would have probably been put in the most deplorable, nasty, stinking jail that she could find. Yeah. But, there's nothing wrong in Washington. We don't need to drain the swamp. It seemed to me, though, that we were kind of promised that. Or were we? President Trump, didn't you promise to drain the swamp of Washington? Are you going to do that? Why haven't you fired Attorney General Sessions? Why haven't you fired his little sidekick that is actually making a mockery of our entire justice system? Why haven't you fired Mueller and his Clinton staff of attorneys? Yeah, I'm sure they have your best interest at heart, and ours. But then again, we're the deplorables of America, remember? We're the deplorables who voted for you and put you in office. And let me tell you something. If you don't do something, President Trump, and if you don't do it soon, the deplorables of America that got you elected in 2018, we're going to show you, and we're going to show Washington what we can really do. Not a threat. It's not a threat of physical pain or anything like that, or it's just a voting threat, because we will take up arms. Oh my God, did Rock Hudson just say take up arms? Yeah, lift your arm up high, grab a hold of the lever on that voting machine, and ka-ching. we're going to show Washington what we can do when we take up arms and pull that lever in the right way. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It goes on, these articles go on to say that Mr. Weiner cried. He cried. And you know what? They want you to believe that he was crying because of the stiff sentence that he got. 21 months at a gentleman's prison. Oh, my God. But you know what the truth is? He was crying for joy. He was crying for joy. Those were tears of joy because he knew that, 21 months, I'm going to be going. I'm going to take a gentleman's vacation, probably play some golf at a minimum security prison. Yeah, tears of joy is what pervert Congressman Anthony Weiner cried today in court. And when he left, I'm sure he laughed. When he got in his car, he laughed at you. He laughed at me. He laughed at America. And he probably made a phone call to Hillary herself and said, thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for the judge and the prosecuting attorneys and the defense attorneys that manipulated the system once again, to protect the liars, the cheats, and the thieves of this nation. Anthony Weiner being one of them. It's sickening to me that a man like Anthony Weiner could even get elected to the United States House of Representatives. And then he was involved in all these multiple sex scandals of sexting. And then when he got caught the first time and he left at being a congressman, he came back and ran for the mayor of New York City. And during the time that he was sexting this 15-year-old, there's a very good possibility that he was involved in a grand conspiracy with his wife, Huma Abedin, what I think is a Saudi spy with strong Muslim Brotherhood ties. This is what I think, just my opinion, but I think that he was assisting Hillary Clinton in committing pay for play, selling state secrets. I think that he was also helping Huma do the job and probably tied in with Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. He's probably tied in with Imran Awan and the spying on Congress. Yes, folks, we have a Pakistani spy ring in Congress, and it ties in with Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and it ties in, I think, with Huma Abedin, and it ties in with Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation. And guess what? They found on his computer, or the computer that he was using, they found hundreds of thousands of emails. And for some reason, Huma Abedin had a file on there called life insurance. Life insurance. Yeah. From who? I'm sorry. It seems to me that Hillary Clinton has a long list of weird, strange murders attached to her and Bill over the years, over 100 of them. A lot of them are considered to be suicides. Person shooting themselves twice in the back of the head, a person stabbing themselves to death. I mean, really strange stuff. And here we go. Does any of that come out? No. Have we heard anything from our Attorney General, Mr. Sessions? No. Have we heard anything from our new so-called great, amazing FBI Director, Mr. Wray? No. Have we heard anything from anybody about this perverted former congressman who just can't stop what he's doing? Did anybody make him a deal so that he would become a witness against Hillary? No. No, what happened is that former Congressman Anthony Weiner today got the book thrown at him. And he got 21 months at gentleman's jail, and a $10,000 fine. And we, the deplorable Americans, are supposed to be happy for that. Gee, I'm sorry. After this, you're probably crying too, but I can guarantee you that the tears that you are crying and I'm crying are not tears of joy. They're tears of frustration and the realization that our country, that our justice system is truly broken. But remember, Mr. Pervert, Congressman Anthony Weiner cried tears of joy. There you go. Some more names. You've been listening to the Hudson Report. I'm Ron, and I'm out. God bless you all.